Dwayne Ebanks.
But I do have some questions.
There are more questions than answers.
Radio Command, talk today.
If you're ready to talk, we're willing to listen.
Well, I really enjoy this program today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
May God bless every person.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. It's going to be some open line until 1:30. At 1:30, the HSA and continued partnership with them is going to come on. You may have seen some wonderful changes unfolding in recent times. You know, places opening up and expanding. But we want to know exactly and hear more from them. But that's 1:30. So between now and then, it's not going to be me, myself, and I, or me and Lady Susan. It's going to be you. So stay tuned for Talk Today.
Talk Today is brought to you by Subway, open 24 hours in Countryside, Anderson Square in Georgetown, and Centennial Towers in West Bay. And by the Ministry of District Administration, Tourism and Transport. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands. MedLab in Smith Road Plaza, your complete medical laboratory solution. Call 949-7331. And Savannah Pharmacy in Countryside Shopping Village, convenient opening hours including Sundays and holidays.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today, the Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program. We ask our listeners to avoid statements or comments which are abusive, derogatory, malicious, or defamatory. Do not use any indecent language or make any statement which is false or misleading. Email talktoday@candw.ky or call 1-800-534-8255.
Courtesy of Flow.
Cayman's #1 network that connects you to your world like never before.
Let your voice be heard. Once again, here's your host, Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome. Thanks for joining us. It's Tuesday. It's May, whatever date it is. I don't know. Sometimes you might think it's the 31st and it's only the 2nd or the 3rd. Well, hey, let's be a part of it. Let it be as productive and as positive. What's on your mind? And give you a chance to share your thoughts with us. Open line here on Talk Today, 949-8037. 949-8037, or you can WhatsApp 925-3261. But we invite you, on behalf of Flow, with their kind compliments, to use the Flow toll-free line, 1-800-534-8255, 1-800-534-8255, and share your thoughts with us. Always good to hear, what other people are saying. For some of us, we find that we get a lot of information in spaces and places that are very much different from maybe how we once did or how our parents did. And for some of us, we marvel at how our children and grandchildren seem to be in the know. Well, whether they are as informed or better informed, perhaps even informed earlier. Well, it's all, part and parcel of what it is. 949-8037, or toll free with the compliments of Flow at 1-800-534-8255. And as we move about in our communities, we are finding increasingly many people sharing their thoughts. Some they're sort of returning from travel, more of us are visiting friends and family. Some of whom probably haven't seen each other for a long, long time. For some, the last time that they were together were not necessarily under the best of circumstances. And as they've traveled, they're starting to ask questions. Well, are we getting back to a better place? Is this so-called new normal one that we should be accepting? Some will remind us that not long ago, sadly, as the comedians would talk about, we had not just one world war, but two. The first one was so good they want to do it again. And, look at the years that have passed since. Have we learned anything with respect to our freedoms? But as I see places going, and the acceptance of certain things, the reluctance by certain people, sometimes the outright resistance, and not just on the part of people to go along with the government, but the resistance on the part of governments and authorities to listen to people. If you follow, perhaps for instance, some of the provinces in Canada, seemingly after they do a poll or a survey of its electorate in that particular province relative to certain thing, they may or may not abide by that view. In other areas, we question the seemingly politically elected, democratically elected in the Western world, and wonder, are they willing to act like a democracy or conduct themselves in a way that some would say, well, that's very, very much close to what the war was fought over, people's rights and freedoms. Now, your perspective. Give us an example how you think we're going. Take, for instance, the view on wearing a mask. Our government on Friday said, listen, we're going to extend it until June for those spaces. There are some who say when you look at the regulations, if you're in door space and you're able to distance yourself by the required amount, you don't have to be completely masked up. Yet there are many who say, well, in this space and in this place, not only when you see that at your table, we've heard from time to time from many dining patrons that as they're at their table, even though the regulations are very clear, that as you're eating and dining with your company, you don't need to wear a mask. Some of the management are saying, no, you need your mask on, and you just take it off. Well, let's go to the phones. Good afternoon. Thank you for calling.
Mr. Sterling, good evening. How are you, sir?
Well, we're blessed, healthy, and grateful, sir. How are you?
Yes, sir. Waiting for the rain to come. To be blessed again.
Well, we do a prayer for the rain.
And this morning, now we're getting the rain.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Two one mixed together, Makes it good. Vitamins for the trees and the plants,
That is true. That is true.
Yeah. Mr. Sterling, I've got a quick question. Ask you if you can find out why that in our schools we're not teaching Cayman history, or doesn't we have history?
Well, good question. What do you think, if you were asked that question, what do you think the answer would be?
If what?
If that question was asked of you, what would your answer be?
What would my answer be?
Mm-hmm.
Why they're not teaching history in our schools?
Mm-hmm.
Well, maybe because they don't want to. Maybe they don't have nobody that knows really history at the Cayman Islands.
All right, so let me answer you by sharing this, right? So students were told, and so were parents allegedly, that when they went to RE, remember that religious education class, presumably some of the parents were under the view that that RE class was solely being taught from the Bible, only to understand that in some schools, including the government schools, it was a comparative religious study, or it was a study on one of the other world religions, not Christianity. And when asked, they were told, by the teacher and others that, well, they can get that level of instruction on Saturday or Sunday when they go to church, but they won't get this, this comparative study at this level. Now, that may sound like a good academic answer, but if your country, for instance, is supposed a predominant Christian nation, and its people are not introduced to its tenets, could it actually understand what it is what makes the country tick? Liking that to your question about history. If you don't know where you're coming from, how do you know where you're going? And if you don't have a destination, any road will take you there, right?
Yep. So it's kind of sad though, because I know, I think they do social studies. I think they do social studies. They do math. They do science. They do biology. I don't know. I went to school half a day and they were closed.
Right.
But I think that all of the children that going to the school should know some history of the Cayman Islands, because they going out of school, graduating, and they do not know where they come from. They don't know anything about their ancestors or anything, what they've been through. I mean, is it so hard to get the subject in? Which, I mean, they got a lot of educated people in that department. So, you know, it's something I've been thinking about for a long time.
Well, I appreciate you asking the question again, and maybe it'll cause us to revisit not only what we're offering, but how we can improve its delivery, its frequency, and not just for the students, but maybe for the general population. We have an incredible resource here, but also a wonderful history as you share. But we don't talk about it. Maybe that's on us because we don't even understand it ourselves.
Yeah, they got Mr. Roy Borden, they got Dr. Field there, all of them. I mean, they got a lot of. My name is Mr. Gilbert.
A lot of resources.
All of them gentlemen, they can get something, you know, for the school, for the history, because you need to know they go abroad, and they only tell you, well, the Cayman Islands is a tourist destination, beautiful 7 Mile Beach. That's it. You know, but let me hear what somebody tells me.
Right. But thank you for that, sir.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we do have another caller, so let's hear what that caller has to say. Hey, good afternoon. Welcome. Thanks for calling.
Yes, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. How are you?
Trying to be good.
Oh, it's always good to hear from you.
Yeah. So, the illegal gambling has been in the news for quite some time. And it provoked the thought that at what point in time will the country as a whole consider some form of legalized lottery? I think of the amount of lives that have been lost in the war on drugs. Now part of it, at least the marijuana aspect of it, is legalized in the country that fought it the most aggressively. And one has to stop and wonder, I mean, if society is practicing this number business, at what point in time would society consider looking at it objectively and see if it warrants some form of legalization? Because, I mean, if we continue, our laws must reflect our practices. And the practice, if there is a practice, there is no doubt about it, there is a practice of numbers, lottery, or what have you. And at some point in time, we have to consider, before we lose too much more lives, at least have the discussion. Do we, at this point in time, need some form of lottery? And what would that look like? That's not the first thing I want to talk about. The second thing I want to talk about is the alarming silence of the OT heads as it relates to the BVI. I am not going to touch the arrest of the premier, because if that has to play out. What I'm concerned about is the findings of the commission and their recommendation. And it seems so easy for them to recommend the suspension of the Constitution and rule, have direct rule imposed. It seems to me that is an indictment on the whole country, an indictment on the opposition. As a matter of fact, first of all, an indictment on the rest of the government, all of the government, an indictment on the opposition, and civil society as a whole. And we see this is like a playbook being put into place, because it happened in TCI. Now it is seemingly occurring in the BVI. And I mean, why is it there is such a rush to suspend such an important piece of document? Eventually it would lose its importance, because I believe that there are other members of society, a matter of fact, other options that can be explored, unless the commission found that the whole society is condemned.
But as I listen to you, and this is where I really welcome and value and respect this society, because we have a lot of good people who are thinking, who are paying attention. And even though we may not fully understand or know exactly what's transpiring, we ask questions, right? So in your comment, the question was posited recently. Is this also an indictment on the UK because are they not responsible for good governance in its territories?
Yes, they are. But it's so happening that at the same time that this commission inquiry is recommending the direct rule for seemingly a number of issues, those same issues that the commission have found the BVI guilty of, the independent newspaper is saying that the UK is the capital of all of those.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of ironic, but
what's transpiring in, let's say, for instance, Malta, Jersey, Guernsey, for instance? Are there any things happening there that could be informative? And as you referenced, TCI not long ago, is this a repeat? Is this, as some of you have asked, the UK is constant threat over its OTs that if you don't behave and fall in line, we'll institute direct rule?
Well, I must say that I think the UK has a responsibility and a role to play in that responsibility as well.
Mm-hmm.
Good governance is an important part of our democracy, but also the preservation of the Constitution is equally, and I dare say, even more important.
Mm-hmm.
And rush to suspend that is just putting some wind in your face and demanding that you sit up and pay attention.
Mm.
I don't know. It's just, to me, too much a rush to suspend and indict the whole country, maybe because of a few bad apples. If those apples are there, pick them out.
Mm-hmm.
Get rid of. Let them pay their price for whatever they are accused of in due process, and let the rest of society pick up the pieces and move on.
Well, maybe as you...
Society by the Constitution, for me, is a rush to condemn everybody.
Mm-hmm. I think your questions should resonate with many in relation to what that would mean for them over there, but for the rest of the OTs as well.
Exactly.
Yeah, well, appreciate it. Any other thoughts you want to share with us?
No, my only thing is that you haven't heard anything, and I mean, I recognize that it is a two-part issue. One, the arrest of the premier, and two, the finding of the commission. And I'm not asking any of the OT heads to touch the issue because with the arrest of the premier, but in terms of the commission finding and their willingness to recommend the suspension of the Constitution and have the direct rule, I think you should have heard something from the rest of the OTs, because I mean, this is where it directly have some form of impact, because if this model prevails, then if it applies to one, it will apply to all.
Mm-hmm. Certainly poses that that presumption for sure, right? Something to consider. All right, sir.
Right, thank you.
Thank you very much. And as I look to Miss Susan for the directions as to whether this, came on our ways, let's take this next caller. Good afternoon. Welcome. Thanks for calling.
This is good.
Hey, my friend. How are you today?
All right, man. Catching the heat. Sorry, catching a ton.
Well, if you're anytime you're on the farm or you by the fishing, it's always a good time to catch it.
Always.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very interesting and very, very important to hear somebody talk on the radio. What just went on?
Right.
Just before me, for real, because I come to think that either Cayman knows about corruption.
Right.
They know what corruption is, very, very enhanced in detailing corruption in the Cayman Islands, or they just go along with it.
Mm-hmm.
And it come in like everybody knows what corruption is when they see it, but when they playing it out, they don't want to say nothing. Or when it's somebody next to them, they don't want to say nothing. there's a bad apple and there's something stink next to the bad apple, all that gotta go.
It's, as you were sharing it certainly asks the question, to what extent, just by association or even embarrassment, we don't want this to happen. But I asked, though, in listening to you quickly, I'm wondering if it's possible that something is happening and it's not that bad yet. Could we nip it in the bud? Or could we find a way, as an example, not asking anybody to break any laws or condone, bad behavior, but take professional associations that sanction their members. So as a wider community, if we know there are certain things happening that really don't look that good on the society as a whole, could we not do like the professional associations and, speak to those bad actors and say, hey, let's find a way to get you back on track so that it's not an indictment on all of us, Maybe that sounds a little bit too naive or simplistic, but if professional associations can speak to their membership to sanction them when they drop, in the wrong direction without it being an indictment on the whole body of lawyers or doctors or accountants, could not society do the same?
Yes, it could. Yes, if you was to try hard.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And people, if you don't understand how people live around here, they're not in tune to calming down. They have to get hype, then more hype to try to survive up around here.
Yeah, it makes you wonder, huh? It seems like the louder, well...
I just want to leave you with one question, Mr. Dean.
Yes,
that's all.
Yes,
not to you, but to the crowd. Well, the whole Cayman Island.
Right.
How did ganja, cannabis, become illegal here? How? Did somebody vote here to make it illegal? Or did somebody just stand up and say, you know what, I don't like you, that's illegal?
Mm-hmm.
How did it go? And if it went on any one of them ways, that means I don't know what it's skinning up about. We need to vote and go find somebody else to make it legal. No. And second, it's against my human rights when you try to deny me a part of nature.
Those have been arguments that people have made. Here's something that is quite beneficial, from the medicinal perspective, when used properly. So maybe we're starting to see that discussion, and I say this from the limited understanding I have when we talk about the issue. There are two words that we talk about: decriminalize and legalize. Maybe we need to consider the legalization aspect as opposed to the decriminalization.
The decriminalization is all built for the corporations.
Mm-hmm.
It's all built for somebody trying to sneak you and me out of the land around us.
Mm-hmm.
You would have the government come and tell you, say, we need this land to try to decriminalize herb because we're trying to grow and keep our own supply here. That would all that would be, and it would take anything that you have and just for so.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Mr. Dean. Have a nice day.
You too, man. All the best, man. And we'll talk whenever we can again. And with that, let's pause and take a quick break and welcome all of our callers. Stay tuned.
For medical lab services in Cayman, go straight to MedLab.
For a full range of medical services, pleasant, clean and comfortable environment, no long lines and affordable fees, visit MedLab at the Smith Road Plaza. Open Monday to Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. and half day on Saturdays. Call 949-7331 to make your appointment.
For medical lab services in Cayman, MedLab.
Ask our professional team about the benefits of cutting-edge technology with MedLab's new state-of-the-art digital mammogram machine.
Beyond Basics Medical Laser and Skincare is offering an incredible 30% off services in celebration of mamas. Visit beyondbasics.ky to shop online and save by using our promo code BBMAMA. Unwanted body hair and ingrowns? Experience laser hair removal from beyondbasics.ky. Scarring, fine lines, loose skin, and enlarged pores? Then experience microneedling, body slimming, and contouring from beyondbasics.ky. Dull, dry, and uneven skin tone? Experience the Hydrofacial and Peels from beyondbasics.ky. Give Mama the lifestyle of confidence and beauty transformations that will create significant change she will love forever. Shop with instant, easy pay online at beyondbasics.ky this Friday and Saturday only and enjoy 30% off services with the promo code BBMAMA.
Subway is serving up a special new sauce, bursting with flavor in every bite. The new Savory Collection is a tropical sweet and spicy sauce made with a combination of spices, habanero peppers, thyme, onion, black pepper, ginger, citrus juices, and molasses.
So good.
Wow.
Sensational.
Delicious.
Subway's Savory Collection pairs perfectly with our oven roasted chicken or steak sub. Savor the flavor. For a limited time, only at Subway. Subway. Eat fresh.
Did you know that ValueMed Pharmacy has a free online prescription service? Managing your health and medical requirements has never been easier with ValueMed. Simply visit value-medpharmacy.com. That's VALU-medpharmacy.com and click the Refill Prescriptions tab on our website. Fill in the information for new prescriptions or refills and choose your preferred pickup location. ValueMed on Walkers Road or Town. Then bring in your original prescription from your doctor when picking up. There's no need to stand in line and wait for your prescription. Save time and pick up prescriptions at your convenience by visiting value-medpharmacy.com. That's VALU-medpharmacy.com.
Celebrate this Mother's Day with Cayman Crystal Caves, Sunday, 8th of May. Guided tours include complimentary beverage, carnation, and chocolate, strawberries for mom. Then enjoy a relaxing Mother's Day experience at their Treehouse Cafe. Space is limited. Call 949-2283 or email info@CaymanCrystalCaves.com to book your Mother's Day tour. Change it up this Mother's Day with Cayman Crystal Caves. Didn't you hear? Crystals are a mom's best friend.
This is a CUC advisory. Due to a required pole replacement, customers on Hurst Road in Newlands from the junction with J. Hubert Drive north to the Coast Guard headquarters, including all of North Sound Estate and all side roads, will experience interruption to their electrical service on Wednesday, May 4th, between 9 a.m. and 2 p.m. For more information, please contact CUC's customer service team at 949-5200 or email at service@cuc.ky.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back and thanks for joining us. It is open line. We do have a couple of callers, so let's go straight to the phones. Welcome. Good afternoon.
Good morning, Sterling Dwayne. How you doing?
Very well. Very well. How are you?
Boy, right here, rough, regular, boy, sober.
Once you're on that love and yoke, my friend, that's all that matters.
Yes, that's all that matters. I had a call when Mr. George called in, and I totally agree with him. Let me go a step further with it.
Mm-hmm.
Not only are we not teaching in the schools, but how many of the schools are actually teaching the national anthem and the respect that it needs to be had.
And the national song as well.
Right, and I was going to say that, national song and also the national flag or flag. And the respect that it is due. Because I don't think it's happening. Because you can go and ask any child what those three items are, and they can't tell you.
Well, as you shared that, there are times, and specifically the national song, there are times that I've gone to sort of public gatherings, even in the last few years, and it could be that people necessarily don't feel up to it, their minds are elsewhere. But you just watch, and there's some of us that aren't singing, and more importantly, we're not standing, we're not seeing a level of
attention.
Yeah,
yes,
presumed respect, right?
Correct. That's what I'm saying. It's not being taught.
Well, but these are the adults,
Yes, but they came from somewhere, They came from a child up. Remember that?
Okay.
Because Sterling, we know young chickens anymore,
Hey, speak for yourself, man.
Just remember that. Yeah, I can speak for myself. But we have been along a good while to watch these now adults from childhood, you know.
Yeah.
So we can say, yes, they're adults, even adults are doing it. But look at their age groups. When we were going to school, we were taught, and trust me, if you twitched an eye, the teacher was walking with a ruler, tap you on your shoulder, or maybe even hit you harder and tell you, hey, look, stand attention, behave yourself, don't move, don't say that, don't, you know.
But even, I mean, I hear what you're saying, right? But even that example, right? If, for instance, just to take your example, if you were doing the national song or prayer or something that you were supposed to be reverent and at attention, and the teacher's walking up and down, there are students like me who would say, "But wait a minute, you know, you're not keeping still either. You're not leading by example."
That is correct too. However, they were trying to get you, because they're the teacher. They're trying to get you to have the respect that the item needs.
I hear you, but sometimes it may be interpreted that, you know, do as I say, not as I do. Sometimes the best thing to do is to lead by example.
Yes, Sterling, Adrian, but let me get another thing now. You have an English class, and you read a word wrong. The teacher then comes back and say, "Hey, look, this is how the word's supposed to go." Is the teacher out of turn for doing that, or right or wrong?
Well,
let me know.
Right and wrong. If the teachers, you know, okay, you read the word and you got, in my word, you got to the end of the sentence of the paragraph, not too far into it, you correct the child to say, you know, this is how that word is said. If you're, as any other one, especially an adult and a teacher in particular, if the way you corrected the child is demeaning, derogatory, or somehow, you know, not the most respectful, then I would say you're wrong, right? Because that is, again, by example, selling, you know, a bad one for the other students. Take, for instance, right, the word INDICTMENT, right? If you never saw that word before, you might not quite sure, you know, is it indictment or indictment, right? And there are other words.
So you got TOMATO. How do you pronounce it?
Or you got, you know, PREFER. Do you prefer?
Well, it depends now.
Yeah, I hear you, man.
Prefer something.
I just keep the Paul Keynes Douglas part.
Back to the reality of it. You go out on a function, and the children were never taught to respect these items. Who you think it looks bad? Who you think it looks bad on?
Fully supportive, right?
The school.
Right.
They say the teachers are not teaching the students anything.
Right. But if you go one step further,
teaching them to have respect.
Right. I take your substantive point in there, you know, the national song. If the people, right, who are out of function are not, you know, standing as we think is appropriate, right? When we look at those people, does it matter if the people who are standing at attention are Caymanian or not Caymanian? And if so, how do we interpret that? Now, for some of us, we may stand with our hands a certain way, and we believe that that is the way you stand. For others, the hands are positioned in a different way. So is there a proper protocol as to how we should stand? And again, as you shared.
Let me ask another question. Had it been, you sit down, someone that's not from here, I'll call him a foreigner, I'll put it down like that. Do you think that they would do that in their hometown?
For some,
I don't think so.
For some,
I don't think so.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. You know, my question was, does it matter? You know, the age of the person, the nationality, and I hear your point.
Yes, it does matter.
Okay.
It does matter.
So should I? In what way?
we are too lackadaisical when it comes to having things enforced.
Mm-hmm. But then should the Caymanian, if I don't want to put words in your mouth, I want to understand.
No,
should the Caymanian, when the national song is being played, should the Caymanian be more attentive and reverent and respectful?
Yes, they should.
Okay.
They should lead by example.
Mm-hmm. Again, I think you lead by example. You get
exactly.
You learn sometimes by doing, right? Now by telling, by seeing.
Yeah, but
and
not only that. When you do and others don't do, there are consequences.
Mm-hmm. So
you can say, well, okay, we're going to start by imposing a ticket. I mean, I just using something as an example on those who do not respect our flag or song and whatever else.
Okay.
It can be a $25 ticket, it can be a $50. That's $25 or $50 out of your pocket that you may need for something.
Mm-hmm.
But I bet you will learn to have the respect that is due.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to our history, we need it. Why do we teach our children foreign history, and when they go abroad or whatever, and somebody asks them, where are you from? And they say Cayman Islands. Well, who is it governed by? Who is it ruled by? And you can't answer it.
No, your point shouldn't be one that just left unanswered, and maybe that speaks to a lot of things, and not just the fact that whether we have history, but the accuracy of the history, the willingness to continue to ensure that it is properly, timely and accurately recorded, and also shared within our communities, starting in our schools. Maybe that's something that is an indictment on us if it's not happening to the extent that it should.
We need to get these in our schools. It's been too long, and it's been preached on too long.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody is taking heed on it,
mm-hmm.
but it needs to be done.
Well,
where's Pedro Castle? What's the significance of Pedro Castle? These things people don't know.
Right. I'm mindful that I think we're going to see some interesting things happen, and if not by design, but by default, given what is unfolding. So you'll find that your points will come back to us as being quite sage. Anything else before we take the break?
No. Take your break.
Thanks, man. Thank you again. Okay. Enjoy your afternoon, all right?
You too.
All right. We're going to pause and take a break. Come back, take some more calls until 1:30. We'll continue open line. Stay tuned.
A caring and community spirit, cherished family and cultural values. These are some of the things that still embodies the Caymanian way of life in the Eastern Districts today. Savannah Pharmacy, your neighborhood pharmacy, located in Countryside Shopping Village, is delighted to offer products and services of real value. Whether it's catering to your family's medical needs or carrying apparel, gifts, and beauty products, Savannah Pharmacy provides you with more than just prescriptions. Remember, they're always just around the corner with everything your family needs and convenient opening hours, including Sundays and holidays. Savannah Pharmacy. For more information, call 946-3336.
For medical lab services in Cayman, go straight to MedLab. Blood test, x-ray, and mammogram, all of that is MedLab. Affordable fees and friendly service, a full professional team. MedLab is always comfortable, MedLab is always clean. For medical lab services in Cayman, MedLab.
Call 949-7331 and ask about MedLab's new state-of-the-art digital mammogram machine.
Radio Cayman,
the voice,
the heart,
the soul of the Cayman Islands.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice.
Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
From Radio Cayman's newsroom, I'm April Cummings. The 20-year-old Boddentown man arrested Friday night on West Bay Road has now been formally charged with possession of an unlicensed firearm and ammunition. This after police stopped a white Toyota Yaris he and another man were in on Yacht Drive around 6 p.m. The other man, 23-year-old Justin Kyle Jackson, got away, triggering a dramatic but rare sight for Cayman. Armed officers on pursuit across a number of areas, including the beach. The suspect appeared in court on Monday and was remanded pending a further appearance on May 5th. In international headlines, U.S. President Joe Biden today blasted what he called a, quote, radical leaked draft opinion suggesting the Supreme Court is poised to overturn the landmark 1973 Roe v. Wade case that legalized abortion across the U.S., warning that a whole range of rights is in jeopardy if it holds. Speaking to reporters before boarding Air Force One, Biden said he hoped the draft wouldn't be finalized by justices, contending it reflects a fundamental shift in American jurisprudence that threatens other basic rights like privacy and marriage. Earlier today, Chief Justice John Roberts confirmed the authenticity of the leaked draft and said he ordered an investigation into what he called a, quote, egregious breach of trust. U.S. officials say Russia has wrongly detained WNBA star Brittany Griner. The 31-year-old Phoenix Mercury center was detained at Moscow airport back in February on drug charges after a vape cartridge containing cannabis oil was found in her luggage. She played for a Russian team in the offseason since 2015. The U.S. Department of State says the Russian Federation has wrongly detained her. Those are your headlines. From Radio Cayman's newsroom, I'm April Cummings.
For the latest in news and information,
follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, radiocayman.gov.ky.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Most listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back. It's open line 949-8037 or toll free at 1-800-534-8255. Thank you for your call as we go to our phones. Welcome, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Dwayne. Good afternoon, Ms. Susan, and to all our listeners.
And to you, Mr. Raymond. Good afternoon, sir.
Yes, sir. A bit disturbed about the high cost of living and things that are skyrocketing, using the war crisis to blame for it, and the price of gasoline and diesel in our islands and many other things.
What do you think is going to happen with that?
Well, it seems it's going to continue increasing, going up beyond leaps and bounds. For example, first of all, let me make sure that you're hearing me good.
We are, sir. We are. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, I'm sitting on the hill here by my place, and we have a strong south wind. Sometimes that may blur the reception, transmission of the phone. Okay, you're hearing me clearly?
Yes, sir, we are.
Yeah, about a month ago, diesel was at $5.70 here, and it went up in 75 cents from $5.70 to $6.45. Today it's gone up another 15 cents, reaching at $6.60. And gasoline was at $5.58, and it's gone up to $6.38. So we got a 80-cent increase in gasoline on Cayman Brac. I didn't see this myself. I was told by somebody, and I'm passing the information on. From $5.58 to $6.38 today, the gasoline price has increased. And the diesel, like I said, was $5.70, went up 75 cents to $6.45. And now again today, another additional 15 cents, making diesel $6.60 a gallon. And the price of crude oil is at $103.32. That's on the world market, 103.32, which several weeks ago, about 2 months ago, a month and a half ago, the price was around $135 a barrel. And we didn't get these jacked up prices at that time. Now the price has gone down, and the prices of the fuels have went up. And in Grand Cayman right now, you have the ship there at Jackson's Point discharging, came from Freeport, Bahamas, almost loaded, and I'm not sure if it's stopping Cayman Brac after Grand Cayman or going on to the Dominican Republic or some other Caribbean island. And Houston is the main port where the Cayman Islands imports. Rubis purchases their gasoline and diesel out of Houston. Some occasional it would be out of Port Arthur, Texas, or Corpus Christi. The last diesel we got in Cayman Brac came from Mobile, Alabama. Mobile, Alabama was the last diesel on the last tanker to Cayman Brac, and the last gasoline on the last tanker came from Pasadena, Texas. That's the area where the gas is most of the lowest in the United States, where Rubis purchases its diesel and gasoline in the Houston area, and occasionally jet fuel from Mobile and diesel from Mobile and other products as well. And we have had it come from St. Croix. So it's I have a wealth of knowledge and of many years of tracking the movements and the price fluctuation and who charges what and what it costs to charter the tanker and the delays. For example, numerous people here in the Brac have questions about whether the last tanker sitting off Cayman Brac for around a week, would that have caused the price to go up? I cannot answer that, but I know it was a lot of wasted time for the tanker being with the last portion of cargo to drain the tanks for Rubis Cayman Brac, and it came from Grand Cayman, and it was here, I think, for almost a week, drifting and maneuvering offshore, waiting for weather improvement, for the weather to be good enough for it to come in. We have had numerous delays with ships like that due to the bad weather, especially in the times when the cold fronts are on. And here this United States, the Port of Houston, is importing diesel from South Korea. That is a very long journey, but their companies, the oil companies, are buyers, suppliers, and traders. If they can get it cheap in South Korea, bring it to Houston and sell it for a big price, that's how they operate. And right now there is a tanker coming from Singapore with Chinese diesel and is headed to Pascagoula, Mississippi. And sometimes in the past we have got cargoes from Pascagoula. So who knows when we will be running on Chinese diesel. That's certainly something I don't want my equipment running on. Chinese diesel may not be up to the par of the U.S. diesel. Also, an alarming situation in Singapore, there was contaminated diesel, actually high sulfur fuel oil for running ships, and 200 ships had their engines contaminated, their fuel contaminated, jamming up their fuel pumps and injectors, and one ship went aground as a result of this. So people have to be very careful now where diesel are purchased from and shipped. If you're getting it out of Houston, American refineries, then it's genuine stuff. They go through it. But getting these imported products from all over the world, you do not know what kind of stringent regulations they go through in refining their products, making it from crude oil.
Mm-hmm. Well, this is it. As I listen to you, I'm realizing how much we've got to pay attention to. Mr. Raymond, you're always a wealth of information, man. Hey, thank you, sir.
Yes, I had one more statement to say.
Yes, sir. Mr. Raymond? Yes, sir. Hello, Mr. Raymond? Oh, wow. See how technology works. And he was saying he had one more thing, so maybe he'll get a chance to share that. But as he's relaying, Mr. Raymond, you there?
Yes, I'm still here, right?
Yeah. Sorry, you were, we heard you, but you weren't hearing us. You had one more thing you said you wanted to share.
Yes, sir. One more thing, that's correct.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, about the products being shipped, there was discussions, or a number of people may say why the price is higher in Cayman Brac, because cost of shipping from Grand Cayman to Cayman Brac, nonsense. That's false information. The same tanker comes to Grand Cayman, keeps it inside, pumps out your share down there, and then comes on here and discharges the final last amount, or stops by Cayman Brac from the Dominican Republic or some other port. So we don't have no additional charges for chartering a tanker to bring it from Grand Cayman to Cayman Brac. It's all being paid in one lump sum as a spot charter rate, whether it's $10,000 for 24 hours or $15,000 for 24 hours, until that cargo is delivered in Cayman Brac. There's no additional cost about bringing it over from Grand Cayman unless it was shipped on Thompson's tug and barge. Then you could talk about that. But the tanker bringing it from Grand Cayman to Cayman Brac is no extra charge for that. And plenty times they will be en route to another Caribbean island, either coming or going. And mostly Cayman Brac is the final destination. We get the drainings out of the tanker. Then it heads back to Houston and loads up another cargo for South America, Central America, etc.
Well, thank you very much, and that I think helps us to be informed relative to where we are with calls, and maybe makes it, as Mr. Raymond always reminds us, ever more important to pay attention to what we have within our own shores, so that we can draw on our resource should things become interrupted because of weather or just the political landscape around us. Thank you very much, Mr. Raymond.
You're most welcome. Good afternoon to everybody.
All right, good afternoon to you as well. 8949-8037, 1-800-533-8255. We're going to have some open line until 1:30. Let's pause now, take a short break. When we come back, hey, give us a shout and let's hear from you. 949-8037. Or toll free with the compliments of Flo at 1-800-534-8255.
For medical lab services in Cayman, go straight to MedLab.
For a full range of medical services, pleasant, clean and comfortable environment, no long lines and affordable fees, visit MedLab at the Smith Road Plaza. Open Monday to Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. and half day on Saturdays. Call 949-7331 to make your appointment.
For medical lab services in Cayman, MedLab.
Ask our professional team about the benefits of cutting-edge technology with MedLab's new state-of-the-art digital mammogram machine.
It's time to celebrate Mother's Day with savings at A.L. Thompson's. You can save 15% on housewares and 20% on select KitchenAid countertop appliances now through Saturday, May 7. Take advantage of this spring promotion and purchase essential and luxury items in the Home Fashions Gallery of our Georgetown store. Visit the Appliance Gallery to select a KitchenAid blender, coffee maker, toaster, hand mixer, multi-cooker, and food processor. Happy Mother's Day from A.L. Thompson's.
Are you a Caymanian status holder, or a resident of the Cayman Islands who is interested in enhancing transparency, accountability, ethical standards, and promoting awareness in public bodies? If you are civic-minded with the highest level of integrity, the Commission's Secretariat, on behalf of His Excellency the Governor, welcomes your expression of interest for appointment to the various statutory commissions. For more information on the commissions and candidate qualifications, visit the Commission's Secretariat website at www.commissionssecretariat.gov.ky.
Busy. Feel like there's not just enough hours in the day. Savannah Pharmacy, service to make your life easier. Now you can WhatsApp your prescription order to 929-5045. And pickup is just around the corner with everything your family needs and convenient opening hours including Sundays and holidays. WhatsApp your prescription order to 929-5045. Savannah Pharmacy, wholesome values with modern conveniences.
For medical lab services in Cayman, go straight to MedLab.
For a full range of medical services, pleasant, clean and comfortable environment, no long lines and affordable fees, visit MedLab at the Smith Road Plaza. Open Monday to Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. and half day on Saturdays. Call 949-7331 to make your appointment.
For medical lab services in Cayman, MedLab.
Ask our professional team about the benefits of cutting-edge technology with MedLab's new state-of-the-art digital mammogram machine.
The offices of dermatologist Dr. Wayne Porter will be taking appointments from May 9th through 14th at his Crew Road Clinic. Appointment slots are limited, whether you're seeking advanced skincare, Botox, filler, cosmetic skin enhancements, or simply looking to reduce wrinkles. Dr. Porter offers us full-service dermatology and dermatological surgery practice. For more information, email drportercayman@gmail.com or call 946-9020 to book your appointment today. That is 946-9020.
Your Radio Cayman 6 p.m. news, Monday through Friday, is brought to you by Logic. Your life connected.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Good afternoon, welcome back, and thank you very much for joining us. It's open line 949-8037 or toll free at 1-800-534-8255. Let's go to the phones. Good afternoon. Thanks for calling.
Yes, Mr. Sterling, me again.
Welcome back, sir. Welcome back.
Yes, I want to continue on where the good brother the Jeffrey was talking about. I don't know if they all still have prayers in school in the morning before the classes start. And I think I heard him say that he don't know if most of the students know the national song. Is the difference between the national anthem and the national song, you know. And the part with that, I remember going to school with Mrs. Forbes, Mrs. Glida Forbes, right there close by Way Park. You're speaking from there, right across the street there on Elgin Avenue. When we used to go in the morning before class started, we had to pray all together, and we used to sing a song, a hymn. If it's not the national song, we would sing a hymn and stuff. And some others tell me, yeah, so even in Mrs. Flatler time, when Miss Flatler was there in school, that you know they could they would pray and sing the national anthem. So, and I know Miss Julie quite well is a very spiritual and Christian lady. I respect her to the max. So I don't know why it is not continued in the school. I know that they got different nationalities in the school, and some don't want their children to pray, and some don't want their children to sing. They're not too tough. When you go to Rome, you do like the Romans do. That is me, George, saying so. When you go to Rome, you do as the Romans do. Tough luck. Cayman was built on Christian values. It is drifting far away, but they still got many here on the island that respect our culture, respect how we were brought up, and we had better children then than they have now because they were taught of Christian values and respecting people. So I don't know. I'm just asking out the question there. Can you find out for me if they still have prayers in school? Thank you.
You're most welcome, sir. And I think that was a question that's been raised a number of times, and from what we gather within the public schools specifically, the primary schools seem to have it a little more frequently, and it's sort of, as we gather, sort of dependent on the class and the teacher. But the devotions that he referred to, that some of us may have become accustomed to, whether daily or just once a week, don't seem to occur as he once experienced. But we can inquire. Let's go to the phones though. Good afternoon, welcome, thanks for calling. Hello, good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon, Dwayne.
Hey, how are you?
Fine, thanks, and you?
Oh, very good.
Fine, thanks. I want to agree with that last call, Mr. George, talking about the national anthem. I know for Northside Primary, because my grandkids go to Northside Primary, they're actually being taught the national anthem. But I don't know how much they're emphasizing, on the structure of it, the posture and everything, because the children are still just, singing but jumping up and down. And, I think that they need to teach them more, the more respect of the song, how to stand, position, everything on it. And like the guy said, we need to make it national. We don't care where they come from. You came to the Cayman, I'm sure you heard something about the Cayman Islands before you got here. So if you do not want your child to learn anything about the Cayman Islands, I would suggest that you either keep them home with you, or you find somewhere else to send them, because like Romans, he said, you go to Rome, you do what Romans do. So they need to understand that. I mean, if we went to their culture, to their island, we would have to do, or their country, we would have to do what they say to a certain extent. Or if we can't do what they, if we don't think that we should do what they say, then we will have to get out. But I'm sure they'll be told us that many times. So they have to understand that is our culture, and we think that we need to maintain it, that we be respected somewhere. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you as well. Now, maybe as we listen to the callers, perhaps the thing that we need to speak to is how do we build a greater sense of love and unity within our community and invite a more harmonious approach to the way we go about things. And some of us, we're very, very, willing to impose, and we use the adage, well, maybe it's easier to ask forgiveness and permission, and that's probably our own mindsets, the way we approach life. And for others, we're looking for instruction, not unlike when we sit to the table and we're not quite sure which one of the utensils do we use. We're looking to others whom we might think would know better, and so we take a cue. And in that vein, perhaps in the Cayman context, we need to be more deliberate, conscientious, and make that concerted effort to ensure that in our schools and our homes and in the wider communities, that the information that we're sharing isn't presented in this autocratic, dogmatic manner that seems to send a message to people that they have to do this as part of indoctrination, but more as an invitation to come and see, this new place that you're now spending some time in, whether it'll be for the duration of your initial grant to remain here, or whether you may come to appreciate, love, and value it as much as many who have come before and want to remain for generations and generations. Now, it's kind of like you have a subject in school that you enjoy. You don't mind putting in the work. You may find it a little bit sometimes very challenging, but you're motivated to do it because of the way the teacher presents it or the subject matter. Then there are other subjects that it's just really a task. You find it very taxing. I think to the things that you like to read, for instance, you'll happily read a thing that interests you rather than a thing you feel compelled. Maybe it's the same with listening to something or watching something. So how do we find a way to ensure that it's presented that way? But first we need to get the material and have it readily available to be presented to people. Take, for instance, the effort long ago, and for some not that long, where we produced a working document, got it bound and published. There are those who still say, well, there's still a lot more to do that needs to be included in maybe subsequent volumes. Even some who would ask, is it not only comprehensive and complete, but is it actually accurate? Well, where we find inaccuracies, not just because of typos or other things that haven't been caught during the review and the editing, but things that perhaps historically are not accurate. Well, what do we do? Well, your thoughts. And it comes back to all the callers are sharing. It is for us to know so that we can share. And that knowing and sharing is their portrayal of great pride. 8949-8037, 1-800-534-8255. And we're watching what's unfolding in the world, whether we look at the things that are happening within our region, whether we're looking at similar what the U.S. media initially has been commenting on recently relative to what could be, its highest court making a reversal of a decision that seemingly was the accepted, and practice approach relative, to what last 50 years or so that could now be in jeopardy. Well, some would say it should have been overturned long ago, and some would say, well, this is the undoing of, freedoms and the like. To be looking at, many places, or whether they're, small independent nations or they're larger nations in the Western world that form, part of the G7 and the G8, G20, the big economic and political powerhouses that may be able, through their example, share that this is now the new and accepted practice for good governance. Well, again, if you don't know and you don't ask questions, or when you do, if you're excluded, will you continue to ask? Think again of the example of the child in the classroom, whether the child sits to the front or to the middle or to the back, but it isn't engaged by the teacher when the child either puts the hand up, as is the expected, classroom management approach, and the teacher ignores, or when the question is asked, the teacher somehow, whether deliberately or unintentionally, makes the student feel as if, well, the child shouldn't be asking a question or making a comment. Not to condone a disruptive, insolent child or behavior, but when the child asks a question, we probably have been that child or in that classroom where sometimes some of us, incessantly ask questions and make contributions, not always the most welcome, timely, or even informative. But even in that, there could be some benefit if it's approached in a reasonable, sensible, or responsible manner. Well, from the classroom to the world stage, from our parliaments, to our public gatherings, are we sending messages to people that would cause them to have a bit of reservation and reticence about making comments, asking questions, taking a public stand for something that they believe is important? Take the discussion relative to legalizing or decriminalizing, cannabis. Whether the discussion now is coming to be a part of the agenda for whatever reason that you may, decide. Is it that it was been decades of consistent, concerted commentary by many that finally gives, way to its popular discussion? Is it recognition that maybe this approach would prove to be more beneficial, less costly on people, on governments, on their finances, and the like? Well, things to consider. 949-8037, 1-800-534-8255, or WhatsApp 925-3261, and certainly share your sentiments with us. And as we get into our next break, this WhatsApp from one of our listeners sharing that, say God is the home, the parents, the nation, that make and take God first in lives. This is my 10-year-old grandson, knows the national song from the beginning to the end. And she says, you can search me, O God. And where did he learn it? Well, in school and in the early morning worship. So from that message, this needs to be that continued partnership between the school and the homes, so that our children are not just instructed, but are coming to understand the importance of their lessons. We're going to pause and take a short break. When we return, we invite you to be part of a discussion as we welcome our friends from the Health Services Authority. We're expecting Dr. Williams Rodriguez and Dr. Simmons to share with us about the HSA's opening of some new clinics. 949-8037. If you have a question or comment, certainly invite you to listen to our discussion. They'll be with us for about half an hour or so. So please stay tuned for Talk Today.
A caring and community spirit, cherished family and cultural values. These are some of the things that still embodies the Caymanian way of life in the Eastern Districts today. Savannah Pharmacy, your neighborhood pharmacy, located in Countryside Shopping Village, is delighted to offer products and services of real value. Whether it's catering to your family's medical needs or carrying apparel, gifts, and beauty products, Savannah Pharmacy provides you with more than just prescriptions. Remember, they're always just around the corner with everything your family needs and convenient opening hours, including Sundays and holidays. Savannah Pharmacy. For more information, call 946-3336.
Beyond Basics Medical Laser and Skincare is offering an incredible 30% off services in celebration of mamas. Visit beyondbasics.ky to shop online and save by using our promo code BBMAMA. Unwanted body hair and ingrowns? Experience laser hair removal from beyondbasics.ky. Scarring, fine lines, loose skin, and enlarged pores? Then experience microneedling, body slimming, and contouring from beyondbasics.ky. Dull, dry, and uneven skin tone? Experience the Hydrofacial and Peels from beyondbasics.ky. Give Mama the lifestyle of confidence and beauty transformations that will create significant change she will love forever. Shop with instant, easy pay online at beyondbasics.ky this Friday and Saturday only and enjoy 30% off services with the promo code BBMAMA.
Subway is serving up a special new sauce, bursting with flavor in every bite. The new Savory Collection is a tropical sweet and spicy sauce made with a combination of spices, habanero peppers, thyme, onion, black pepper, ginger, citrus juices, and molasses.
So good. Wow. Sensational. Delicious.
Subway's Savory Collection pairs perfectly with our oven roasted chicken or steak sub. Savor the flavor. For a limited time, only at Subway. Subway. Eat fresh.
The annual business surveys are ongoing. The surveys are conducted by the Economics and Statistics Office and seek to measure the economic performance of all local industries. The survey forms for this year were mailed or emailed to all relevant entities operating in the Cayman Islands. The surveys are confidential under the Statistics Act and are exempt from the Freedom of Information Act. Your response matters. Do your part. Fill out and return your survey forms to the Economics and Statistics Office. For assistance in filling up the forms or for more information, visit www.eso.ky or call 244-4676 or 244-4607. Better data, better decisions, better business. The Health Services Authority's new pharmacy is now open at the Smith Road Medical Center. The new location features a large, comfortable waiting area and ticketing system to improve the patient experience. All uncollected prescriptions and refill requests previously submitted will now be available for collection at the Smith Road Pharmacy. Request your refills online at hsa.ky via WhatsApp 925-6532 or call 244-2715. For more information about our pharmacy hours, visit hsa.ky.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back, and thanks very much for joining us. And as we invite you to be part of the discussion, I'm always honored to have this continued partnership with the Health Services Authority. And today, when we put those resources that we have at our disposal to the continued benefit of our country, we can see not only timely information being shared. As we welcome Dr. Williams Rodriguez and Dr. Simmons to our studio, it's one of those things. So as we get settled and do what I think we sort of advise to do, put on a headset so we keep our hair in place, it makes life good. Dr. Simmons, good afternoon. It's a pleasure to welcome you back into the studio. How are you, Mom?
Good afternoon, Sterling. Thank you. Well, thank you. How are you?
You know what, man? I'm handsome, I'm helpful, I'm tall, I'm blessed, I'm healthy. Life is good, right, Dr. Rodriguez?
Yeah, I don't any of those attribute bad things.
No, I was looking at you and seeing a reflection, so I'm thinking the same thing, man.
Thanks. Good afternoon.
All right. You know, I had said at the outset, and it's great that within our country we're continuing to value the investment in our health services, its access, its availability, and the growing practice and provision of not just personnel, but, other technology, and to see new clinics being formed and expanded. It bodes well for a healthy society. So I'm excited to learn now. I know some new clinics have been opened recently. Perhaps maybe you will lead us, Dr. Simmons, but what are some of these new clinics? And let's hear more about it.
Good afternoon to our listeners. Earlier this month, we announced the opening of the new Georgetown General Practice Clinic and Public Health Clinics. Mm-hmm. They're located on the second floor of the Smith Road Medical Center. So this is a new initiative, or a major initiative as well, by the HSA to improve not only quality but accessibility for our patients.
Wow, and that sort of clinic now, being up there in that new building, parking is accessible. There's a pharmacy downstairs. There's a lot of stuff. Dr. William Rodriguez, what does that mean for us? I mean, your perspective of that new opening and the expansion and sort of the accessibility.
Yeah, actually we are very excited about the opening of this new facility, new clinic. We'll be in a better position to serve the people of the Cayman Island, Georgetown area, and also the whole country, because the building itself is not only general practice, as you mentioned. There is pharmacy, also specialist clinic is in this building, and there is phlebotomy there for patients that need to get the blood drawn. They don't have to go to the hospital anymore. It can be done right there, and there is also the intention of expanding other services there, like X-ray and other services in the same building. So patient will be able to receive quite different services from the HSA in this same location, which is a nice, brand new, pretty new building with brand new facilities actually.
So those new services, as you just referenced, that they could receive separate part from what is available at the HSA. Some examples, if possible.
Well, there are new services that come in, like sport medicine services will be there. It will be an enhanced cardiology services at the same location. The blood bank is going to be located there as well. So we continue to improve our services and as a part of the HSA. And for general practice, primary health care, it gives us the opportunity to refocus back on what we are supposed to be doing on a regular basis. So it's prevention and health promotion and disease prevention, and focus on chronic diseases. We have been for the last 2+ years focusing a lot on COVID and our response to COVID, but we need to move back to focus on these conditions who are actually affecting our population way more than what COVID had done.
So at the HSA main campus right there on Hospital and Road, at the section that everybody knows, the GP was there, public health was there. Now that you move to Smith Road Medical Complex, does that mean that GP and public health are not there as well? It's only now in one location?
Correct. Everything, those two services, general practice and public health, they're now at Smith Road Medical Center, and their visits are by appointment only. However, we did start urgent care clinic, so that clinic is there, and that's to help with the demand. So we want to make sure that the persons who don't have an appointment but have an acute need, wake up feeling unwell, have an illness that needs to be seen urgently or seen today, they can access this care at the main hospital campus at the urgent care clinic. And that's open Monday to Friday from 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. We have extended hours. And on Saturdays from 8:30 to 1 p.m.
Okay, so 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. on Monday through Friday, and then Saturdays from 8:30 till
1 o'clock.
1? I do publicly apologize. I said until 2. I don't know where I saw that. I gave you an extra hour. Sorry about that. Susan will pay for it. And then urgent care. I want to perhaps, you say GPs by appointment. We know we have the A&E, and we kind of want to ask what is urgent care. But before I do, where at HSA specifically is urgent care, for those who don't know?
It's in the atriums. When you come to the main hospital entrance, everybody knows where pharmacy is. We're the door just after pharmacy. So where they would have gone to specialist clinic, old specialist clinic, that's now the new urgent care clinic. Okay.
So if you remember where GP is, that's not there, that's over at the Smith Road. Where specialist was after you come into the atrium.
Off to your right.
Off to your right. Correct. That's where urgent care is.
Urgent care is there.
That's correct.
All right.
I just want to add that the building where GP used to be is currently being working on, and we soon will be announcing the starting of a new service there, which is the adolescent health clinic, which is needed for years here in the Cayman Island. So I'm glad to announce that is coming soon. I'm sure it will be the relevant person here in your show to talk about that. We also are planning to implement a service, which is actually a partnership between the GP department and the internal medicine team and cardiology, and is to provide executive medicals as well. And this also going to be part in the same building the GP used to be, or what we call the annex to the building, which is the bottom or the down part of the building where it used to be the dressing area, and so. But the public will be informed when we get closer to the date.
So for executive care and those sort of things. Okay. See, this is, and I'm glad you shared those two bits again publicly, because as a community we hear bits and pieces, and there's a great deal of excitement for some of us, maybe more than others. When we're looking at the idea of care and the urgent care, maybe not just why we started, but what would constitute urgent care? I know Dr. Simmons, you referenced you're not feeling quite well. It's not an emergency. Something's happened.
For non-emergent cases, we want to leave the true emergencies to be able to access A&E and not have those non-emergent cases flooded. So we have the urgent care, which would ease the demand. So if you have symptoms or issues such as the flu, or if you have injuries like a minor sprain or falls or even cuts, all of these should be seen in the urgent care. So it's for issues that really need to be tended to today. They really shouldn't wait, but it's still not an emergency.
It's not life-threatening.
Exactly.
All right. And I mean, for some of us, it should be obvious what would constitute life-threatening, but just in case.
But then at the same time, we have enough staff there between A&E and urgent care. If you come there and you're in the wrong place, our staff will definitely take you over to the other side. But the nurses will triage you and decide you're a true emergency, you should be in emergency, or you're more, just urgent, and we can see you over at the urgent care.
And it's not that far apart.
No, it's not.
Just coming to now, what about after 11 p.m. on Monday through Friday, or after 1 p.m. on a Saturday or a Sunday? Someone who has, and I say this perhaps, you guide me in case I'm misinformed. Many of us know when GP isn't open, we go into A&E because that's what is available, even though it's not an emergency, but we're not feeling, our best, and we kind of want to see a doctor for peace of mind, or we're just accustomed to it. So what happens in those times when a person is in that space is, after those hours, and they want to see a physician, and they feel that in their minds, I can't wait till the morning. I want to do this now.
If it's after hours and they genuinely feel in their minds that it's something that needs to be tended to now, that sounds like an emergency. So they should then be seen an emergency. But if it's something that they can wait a few hours, the GP will be open, as well as urgent care. And even though we said the new GP clinic is by appointment only, it doesn't mean that if you don't have an appointment, you should automatically go to urgent care. You can still call the GP clinic, because we still have appointments available same day. So persons, if it is something that they can't devote to going and sitting down for a few hours or an hour to wait, but they would rather have a designated time to be seen, they should call the GP clinic, and the clerical staff there will be happy to try and fit them in within an appointment for the same day.
And again, I don't want to confuse, but I want to understand. We're probably accustomed, we call a GP, get an appointment. Sometimes they would have walk-ins, if that was the phrase that should be used, but that's when we understand. Some physicians have walk-ins between this time and time. Would they still be available at GP?
Not for a walk-in per se. It's just by appointments. But then when they call, they can say, perchance, does this doctor, or are there any available appointments? So you might not get to see your specific preferred doctor, but you will be in good hands and see another physician.
Okay. Yeah, I just want to add, because since we started the urgent care clinic at the hospital and the separation of the two locations, we are getting a lot of quite a few persons that attend in the urgent care clinic that really don't qualify for urgent care. They have been attended to, but it's inconvenient really for the patient. You have to go and wait in a walk-in clinic for 2 hours or 1 hour, whatever the waiting time is that day, when you can actually get an appointment and deal with it within 20-30 minutes. And specifically cases like immigration medicals, government medicals, life insurance medicals, those type of medicals, they shouldn't, definitely not an emergency, they shouldn't be going to the urgent care clinic. They should call the GP clinic by appointment, like Dr. Simmons said, their appointment within 48 hours for sure. So that's more convenient for the patient, and also it's better for those patients who are at the urgent care clinic, who have an urgent medical condition and sometimes they have to wait for those who don't really have any urgent need at the time. So we encourage the patient to actually call the GP clinic.
Well, I'm hoping that that's probably just us now understanding that the service, and it's a matter of education and awareness. So if I could just so that I understand it, things that, as you use, medicals and the like, whether it's for work permit or otherwise for your insurance, those things, we could call, make an appointment, know that on Tuesday, at 3:30, we'll see a physician to do this thing. We can go there and a reasonable wait, and we'll get through, as opposed to just sitting and waiting.
Yeah, that's correct. You're correct. And another thing I would want to highlight here, that it's not a new service. It has been in GP for a while in the Review Care Clinic. This is a clinic that is for review of prescription. Sometimes patients go to the urgent care clinic, even they go to A&E to get a refill in their medications. Now they can go to GP, to the GP appointments. They don't really need to make an appointment because they don't need to be seen by the doctor at the same time. We do have a doctor assigned every day to do this. So the doctor will collect the information from the or the nurse will collect the information from the patient. The patient will drop the medication that they need. The doctor will go into the chart, review the patient note, make sure that this patient have all the investigations that need to be done, and then it will write a refill for this patient, and will inform the patient when the patient need to be seen, when they need to do investigation. They place the order for investigation. So it's a very good service because the patient don't really have to wait. They come, drop everything out, they come back the next day or after 3 p.m. on the same day and collect and pick up their prescription. So this is something we want, because we see patients going to the urgent care clinic and to A&E just to get a refill in some medication.
And I'm glad you referenced that, because I think that is probably a well-kept secret. Many of us probably aware of it, but probably have, for whatever reason, again, not fully understand it, are the view that it is available, but it's sort of when and if. You're saying this is a formally established, accepted practice. You have a prescription, you need it, you need refills, and you just come in, drop off your current one, and then the physician will look at it, and you can have your new script all updated.
This is something we've been doing for a few years.
Yeah, right.
So some patients do know about it, and then you're right, there are some patients who don't know about the services. So the earlier you drop off your need for prescriptions in the day, that's better for you, because there's a physician assigned every day, as Dr. Williams did say. And then conveniently, once they picked up the prescription, the pharmacist is right downstairs.
Yeah. What about follow-ups? Some of us, even with GP, blood tests, blood work, different things, and 6 weeks, 6 months later, we have a follow-up. How do the question offers that? How do we work with that? So we come in and there's a need for, we understand it with a specialist and the like, and they'll give us an appointment. But for follow-ups?
Follow-up with GP, it doesn't change that. Vary that much for specialists. Once you see the doctor, it would be an agreement between the doctor and the patient when the patient needs to be seen again. That can be 2 weeks, a week, a month, 3 months. The doctor will inform the patient when you need to see you again. As a regular follow-up, if there's anything urgent happen in between, of course, the patient need to come back or contact the doctor. And once the patient know that, the patient then can call the GP clinic, usually a month or 2 months in advance, and book an appointment with that specific doctor to do the regular follow-up.
And I think this is where we as patients need to sort of take a little more of an active interest in our, the doctors and our blood work. There are a few of us, myself might be included, where the time in lab has elapsed and we haven't gone to do the blood work, even though the doctors put it in the system. Or we'll go ahead and do it, but we don't make the appointment to get the results. So we need to do that. Now you're saying it's there and the follow-ups will be the same.
Correct. And as Dr. Williams mentioned earlier, we do have phlebotomy services as well in the new location on the second floor. And they're open from Monday to Friday from 8:30 to 5. So patients, if the doctor ordered them blood work to be done right away, they can have that. As well, if they know they're seeing their doctor in a month or 2 months, they can come a few days before their appointments and they can have their blood work done there. So what we're trying to do is to divert all of the crowd to the main campus. So for those who would normally have their blood work taken in the district clinics, that's still an option. But for Georgetown, now you can go to the Smith Road Medical Center on the second floor and do your phlebotomy there versus having to compete for parking at the main hospital.
Okay. And for some, it's a lot more convenient, just because of where it's at relative to the main campus. Good stuff, Dr. Williams.
Yeah, that's good. We will continue to work to improve our services, not only in GP but at HSA overall. And there are new projects coming on. And like I said, you will have your people to interview who are more relevant to those projects that are coming on board soon.
Well, we're very grateful. We've had a good working relationship. We are expecting some of the things relative to mental health, some of the other things. And I say this publicly, constantly, not to be political and hopefully not improper or incorrect, but the health services is, to me, one of the main pillars in our society. And if we continue to invest, continue to make it accessible, then we're going to see a healthy, robust society. Being a physician, as a parent, you want your child to be a physician, you think this is a glorious thing. For those who are physicians and who are friends, thanks to you. I mean, I don't know when you get days off, if you ever get days off, and you're constantly working, but for what little it may be worth, thanks very much. And for the public who's listening, okay, urgent care is now extended to 11 p.m. on a Friday. The versus what GP, may have gone to, 7, 5:30, 7:30.
GP clinic is from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m.
It used to be a lot earlier, and you've extended that. The A&E is 24/7, constantly.
The patients have a lot of options.
Yeah, and as physicians, thank you. I mean, you're constant on call, so thanks. It's good to know that it's there.
All right, thanks.
As we're listening though, and speaking to you relative to the health services and the new clinics and the new offerings and the like, I can see your district clinics. So for some of us, we may decide to avail ourselves of the hours. The clinic in our district may be open a particular time when we want to be convenient. But if it's not, it doesn't matter if you're in East End and you're making the drive to the urgent care, for instance, on a Friday afternoon, because your clinic has not open. Doesn't matter, right? That's what that's there for.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. We do encourage people to attend, especially if it's not an urgent problem.
Right.
The clinic at the district. They're more convenient. The staff is familiar with the person who lives in the area. We know that not all the district clinics have clinic every day, with the exception of West Bay. West Bay do have clinic every day, and Bodentown have clinic four times a week. East End and Northside have twice a week. We are actually in conversation now with the relevant stakeholder to increase the number of clinics in those areas, because like Dr. Simon just mentioned, we want to decentralize. We don't want all the services to be at the hospital. So if the person lives in East End, you will really want the person to go to the East End clinic. And I think for the patient it's more convenient to go to the East End clinic. We also going to have the situation that a lot of persons who live in the district work in Georgetown. So they have to come to town anyhow. So probably it might be more convenient for them to attend the clinic here in Georgetown, and that's why we're expanding the hours here in Georgetown as well. But definitely expanding the services in the district health clinic is if in the radar, it's going to happen also in a relatively short period of time.
All right. If you could ask, we're talking specifically to the Georgetown campus, but relative to, say, urgent care, for those of us who live and work on the BRAC, Faith Hospital, any changes there for now, or has it been thus far?
Faith Hospital, actually, they have been over the years improving the services there. They have increased the inpatient also wards and the number of patients they can take. Physiotherapy as well have been improved greatly in the health in the Sister Island, especially in Cayman Brac. And also there is a plan to increase the primary health care and also public health in Sister Island. As you're probably aware, there's only one public health nurse for the Sister Island, and I know the population is less, but the public health work there can become really busy at times. So those are services that actually we are trying to increase, to implement. As you know, we have now a gene expert machine doing COVID testing in the Cayman Brac, so they don't need to send their samples here to be processed. So the Faith Hospital is part of the HSA. So the growing of the HSA, of course, it will always incorporate Faith Hospital.
And thank you for addressing that. I think sometimes, again, we as a community don't appreciate that you're running two national hospitals, so to speak, and even though the population, physical or back, may be a fraction of what's on Grand Cayman, to deliver the service and the respect for the patients still paramount.
Yeah, definitely, and they are like dental service. All of those services will definitely will enhance and improve the Sister Island as well.
Right now, we're growing perhaps more familiar with the patient portals. Some of us still like to pick up a telephone and dial. Some of us even have a rotary phone at home, and that works. The telephone numbers to call for GP for the appointment, is it the main telephone number, or the specific numbers to call in to get appointments?
We have dedicated numbers, so the public can call 244-2800 to make an appointment for GP, or 244-7520. However, if that isn't an option, they can always call the main hospital number, and then the operator will put them through to the relevant areas.
Or listen closely, because the prompts will take you through, and you can get through to the different sections. All right, and the idea of getting appointments, for a GP like that, we're expecting the availability and the timeliness of it to be increased significantly for those appointments.
Yeah, appointments are always available. We do have an issue, and it's not particular here in the Cayman Island, like in any place in the world. You expect to be able to see a GP within 72 hours with an appointment. Remember, I said a GP, not necessarily your GP. The idea, of course, ideally you should be able, or you should try to follow with your regular GP, and that's why you need to make this appointment with enough time. But there are some GPs, because they've been here for longer than others, of course they have more patients. And so making an appointment with them, it may not be within 72 hours, it may be 2 weeks, 3 weeks, even a month. But if this is your regular physician and you follow up with them regularly, you have enough time to make this appointment. Our GPs, our doctors, not only GP, but our doctors overall, are very accommodating. And for their patients, is a patient walking even without an appointment. And I'm not encouraging this, but I'm just saying if this is the case and the GP is there, it's likely that they're going to see the patient.
Right. And I'm glad you said that. And if I say this incorrectly, correct me, but to us as patients, let's recognize that it may be 10,000 was to that one physician, for argument's sake. The statistics are not that like that, but it's many of us that one person. Less if we can, be considerate and respectful, and instead of a walk-in, maybe make that appointment. Maybe don't take for granted the fact that we go up to the HSA. The physician will take time out of our schedule to see us, squeeze us in between patients, stay later. There's a knock-on effect. That one person is still human, and let's just be mindful. So if that's not inappropriate to us as patients, let's think about it. Given that you know how appointments. All right, call and Susan will take the appointment for you. I'm just kidding. No, it's encouraging. It's a good money well spent.
Yeah, definitely. And you make a point. Whenever we squeeze in one of our walk-in patient, you have a knockout effect on others. Yeah. Then there's a patient with an appointment who was there in time that may probably have to wait a little bit longer. That they would not have to wait if we were just seeing our regular patient with appointment. So that we continue to encourage patients to make their appointment.
We have a question, and I don't know that there's individuals intended for this to be asked in reference to, say, telemedicine, but so in relation to getting results. So again, we saw the GP, for instance, and we did the blood work, and now we just need to know what's the cholesterol, what is the result. I think the question asking, is this something that would be better done and more efficiently, my word, by teleconsult or something in person? Assuming it's not bad news or something like that.
To get your results, actually, if you sign to your patient portal at the HSA, you can see your results. You need somebody to explain your result to you. Then, depending on this result, they can be, of course, discussed by teleconsult. But some results, they need actually the doctor to sit in front of the patient and explain in detail, and also sometimes need changes in medication or more investigation to be ordered. But definitely, if you have a patient portal and you sign, and we encourage everyone to sign for the HSA patient portal, you have access to see your results. And if you have any doubt, then you can definitely consult the clinic, make an appointment, and like I said, either a teleconsult or a face-to-face appointment for the doctor to explain this result to you and to do any other investigation or treatment that needed depending on those results.
Well, we're happy to continue to help to promote your information, so as a public we understand what is available, how to access it. If I can read my handwriting, urgent care is where GP will GP has moved now to the Smith Road Medical Center. The new pharmacists downstairs, specialists and stuff, gradually there. So more and more of that medical center is there, and GP appointments only 8:30 a.m. to 8 p.m.
To 8 p.m. Correct.
Monday
to Friday.
Saturdays.
Saturdays no appointments.
No appointments. Okay. And in urgent care, where specialists used to be, right after you pass the pharmacy, as you go through the atrium to your right. Monday to Friday from 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. And then Saturdays until 8:30 to 1.
8:30 to 1.
Okay, correct. See that? I take good notes in school, man.
You do. I know it might seem confusing to patients. We're talking about so many clinics, but it's essentially 3 categories. If you're an emergency, you go to emergency. If you have an urgent medical concern, if you're having the flu, if you fell, if you have another injury or earache or throat pain, then you go to urgent care. If it's something that you need to see your routine physician for a follow-up appointment, or if you need to do a medical, as Dr. Williams was discussing, or if you just have a concern that's not urgent, but you want to sit down and speak with your doctor, then you make an appointment for GP for your routine.
And that's more convenient for you, whether you're retired or whether you're doing it on your lunch hour.
For everyone, because we do have patients who they might not be able to take off time during work in the day to go and see their doctors, and as we said earlier, there are no Saturday appointments, but we do open until 8 o'clock so they can get an evening appointment so that they can go after work. And the benefit of that is you have a 7 o'clock appointment or a 6:40 appointment, so you don't have to take off time from work.
Right.
So it's more convenient.
Well, let's be cognizant and respectful. I really appreciate you as physicians, this partnership with HSA and making the public understand. Dr. Williams Rodriguez, any closing thoughts you may want to share with the listeners?
No, I just want to thank you again, Dwayne. I think you do a great job. I really love the partnership between your program and the HSA to announce any activities that is happening at the HSA, and also to help us promote health here in the Cayman Islands. I'm very grateful. I do ask the public to make use of our services and to make the proper use. Make an appointment if you need an appointment. If it's an emergency, by all means, go to the A&E department. And if urgent need is what you need, there is qualified, very qualified doctors and nurses at the urgent care clinic at the hospital.
Thanks, Raj. And Dr. Simmons, we started with you. If you wish to share anything else.
As well, I'd like to share Dr. Williams' sentiments, and thank you as well for having us on. The final point for me is to also remind the public, for those seeking public health services, whether that be immunization, child health screenings, general health screenings, they can do that Monday to Friday from 8:30 to 4:30 as well at the Smith Road Medical Center. So all of the public health nurses that we all traditionally knew as being at the hospital, they're now with us at the Smith Road Medical Center.
Awesome. Well, thanks again, and may you continue to excel, and your work may be rewarding to you, and may we as a populace appreciate their proficiency. So thanks very much.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to pause and take a break, and when we come back, there's going to be some open line. I want to read a couple of emails here, a few WhatsApps. I won't sing, but if Susan prompts, we could do poetry. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman. Your voice, your choice.
Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
3 women are under arrest suspected of selling lottery tickets at a commercial building on Shedden Road. On Thursday, police made the arrest, seizing cash and other evidence. The women are 51, 37, and 19 years old from Georgetown. They have been released on bail. In international headlines, Slovakia and Hungary said today they will not support sanctions against Russian energy that the European Union is preparing over the war in Ukraine, saying they are too reliant on those supplies and there are no immediate alternatives. The EU's executive branch, the European Commission, has drafted new proposals for sanctions, which could include a phased-in embargo on Russian oil. The 27 member countries are likely to start discussing them on Wednesday, but it could be several days before the measures take effect. Slovak Economy Minister Richard Sulik said the country's sole refiner, Slovnaft, cannot immediately switch from Russian crude to another kind of oil. Changing the technology would take several years, he says. Employers in the U.S. posted a record 11.5 million job openings in March, meaning the U.S. now has an unprecedented 2 job openings for every 1 person who's unemployed. The latest data released today by the Bureau of Labor Statistics further reveals an extraordinarily tight labor market that has emboldened millions of Americans to seek better-paying jobs, while also contributing to the biggest inflation surge in 4 decades. A record 4.5 million Americans quit their jobs in March, a sign they are confident they could find better pay or improved working conditions elsewhere. Those are your headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom. I'm April Cummings.
For the latest in news and information,
follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, radiocayman.gov.ky.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waging to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back, and thank you very much for joining us. It's open line, and I'm say this, and if you ever take issue with whatever I say, if you don't think it's said clearly, accurately, or in a way that could be presented that'd be more helpful, let me know. We probably subscribe to the notion, praise in public and chastise privately. But if you choose to do otherwise, that's fine too, as long as it improves the lot and lives of others, then that's good. Thanks so much to the HSA. As you just heard from Dr. Simmons and Dr. Williams Rodriguez, relative to some of the things that have been taking place since April. They had been mentioning that was going to transpire, and it did. It seems that as more of us understand what's happening, the uptake has been really, really helpful, managing our times as patients so that we don't feel that we're spending a lot of time. So GP is available now by appointments only, with their incredible hours until 8 p.m. in the evening, we can get an appointment. And maybe that'll help us not to, in our minds, have to wait so long when we're going there for a medical or a checkup or whatever it is that we're asking. And then, of course, the urgent care clinic being available where the specialist clinic. So if you're familiar with the Georgetown Hospital campus, the main pharmacy is right there at the atrium as you come in, where the specialist was right after the pharmacy on the right-hand side. That's where urgent care is, and you go in there, and it's not, for life-threatening things. So that's A&E, that's the ER, the emergency section. If that is happening to you, go over to the emergency and don't take chances with our lives. But if you happen to, be like the rest of us, and you're not a physician, and for whatever reason you say, well, let me go to urgent care. I have every confidence that over there they'll be able to take you properly to the A&E section where you need to be and give you the treatment then and there to start it off if necessary. Thanks again to not just the physicians, but to the governments over the years continuing investing in health services. Doesn't mean that there aren't things that could be better and perhaps need to be acknowledged. And sometimes, as I say this without any desire to be anything other than a true champion for it, education and healthcare are the pillars in any society, or should be, because without a healthy, educated populace, you may have diamonds or gold or oil or some other natural resource or financial services or anything else. If people can't avail themselves of it, what's the point? And education isn't just that piece of paper that many of our mothers and grandmothers in particular wanted us to get, not just to hang on the wall, but to be able to parlay into a more rewarding life in a sense of travel and work. But education is also in application. We learn how to swing a hammer and to, use the saw to pull the wires and do our plumbing and fix our cars and our boats. Knowledge isn't just something that we get in a classroom setting. 8949-8037, 1-800-534-8255. Let us share this message that was sent to us. This listener writes and shares that, sufficiently that, hopefully, like many things that get published across many platforms, hopefully on our morning show you may have heard it. If you did, it's worth repeating. If you didn't, maybe you will. So there's a serious problem of loitering in the central West Bay area in the vicinity of the south side of the Church of God. So believe it or not, the people who hang out there have tried to even stop the police cars from passing. And this can be confirmed by the police themselves. So the loiterers spend their time there all day. They cook, they sleep, play loud music, and disturb the neighbors day and night. So the police keep going to the spot daily, yet the loiterers refuse to move. You've seen people to say were at the West Bay Polo Beach, where they were moved. Now they have seemingly taken up a new spot. So this is a bad situation that is growing. Not that the police and the representatives are not trying to stop it, but these people are very bold and brazen, and it's a large and growing crowd, and serious problems are growing, and growing. I hope that the higher authorities are listening. Now, not necessarily to speak to this particular issue. Thank this writer for drawing to the public's attention. Hey, this is what's happening right there. And for any of us listening might say, well, that's just an isolated incident. Before I read this, there have been a number of calls from different parts of Grand Cayman. I have not been able to confirm the same. One call from the BRAC said, in a particular area, we're starting to see a growing congregation of people near a particular beach area. All have alleged that it would appear that many people now are sort of almost like encampments. They're not camping for extended periods of time. The allegation from one lady in another of the districts, she shared that what she's seeing, that there are more and more people sort of taking up quote-unquote residency in these vacant lots, some of them near the public beaches or the waterways and the like. And they're seemingly living there. Now, is that because they're homeless? Is it a new adopted lifestyle? Her views were for their continued safety from the elements. She shared that it's good that we don't live in a place where the temperatures overnight, can drop rapidly and get to, really, really cold. But what about the day? The exertion, the heat exhaustion, and the like, and some people not even understanding that with sufficient hydration, they could pose serious long-term health consequences. But then the sanitary sort of approach for some of these, and again, this lady shared that her view is that the public facilities near the beaches and otherwise, even in some of the other commercial premises, some of these people will go and use the facilities there. Now, if it's a case of homelessness, or if it's a case of something else, how is the community, one, acknowledging this? What are we doing to address it? And are we, like so many things, conclude, well, that's a small number, it's only them, so it really doesn't matter. Now, as that one lady shared, and a few others have shared something similarly, you could hear her heart, a genuine compassion and concern that we have citizens in our community that seemingly are without a house and home, without somewhere to sleep safely and comfortably. Now, if that is because, as she shared, they've lost their homes or they've lost their family connections or what have you, and as they live there, is there potential for some other issue relative to large numbers living in an environment like that? Not just their personal safety, not just the impact that they may have in the wider community, but the notion that this is transpiring in our place. Well, from this particular message, there are other things, to the incessant playing of loud music in some neighborhoods just constantly. That drone and hum of the bass and the like. What is that doing to the quality of life and the enjoyment for others in the neighborhood? To the potential, the impact on dogs and other animals, to the mental wellness of others. Could that lead someone to just get enough and create what otherwise would not have been an issue and make it even worse? To the complaint that we don't hear, thankfully, as much publicly. Now, is that because people, as the gentleman who spoke to me on Monday shared, he said he stopped complaining because it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't matter who you call, and it doesn't matter how irate you become or whether you demonstrate it through a video or pictures, or you, as he said he did. He took someone from planning. Almost felt as if he'd imposed on a friendship, say, okay, I know it's after work, but it won't take you 5 minutes. Just drive here and you'll see what I'm saying. To nothing. And it's the growing practice of many to use their yards for commercial ventures, whether it's auto repair or the like. The fellow said that it's not an issue of people being able to leverage their resources, minimize their overheads, and make a profitable venture. But should there be some sort of licensing restriction, some sort of safety protocols? He gave us an example. He was living in another neighborhood some years ago, and he understood that ever so often a particular neighbor down the street would have a few cars in the yard that he worked on. And he thought, well, no big deal. Neighbors seemed to be okay with it. Now, he said he wasn't there for very long when it started. He didn't remain long after it. But he was, concerned, and from time to time he would take a drive. And what seemed to have been just one type of, automotive work has now expanded to, a full-blown automotive, so much so that he was parked, and maybe it was the direction of the wind, or maybe that the wind was particularly strong that day. But the overspray from painting, the vehicle ended up on another vehicle. Now, he said, didn't matter that his car was, he put up just a beat up piece of jalopy. But the fact is, he has, the either unsightly appearance of these paint spots on his car, the fine mist spray, or he has to now go to the expense and have it repeated, which probably, in his words, that paint job would probably be like a lipstick on a pig. It probably cost more than the car itself. Now, I say that to share that he emphasized with so much, we turn a blind eye to things because it's not significant, it's not life-threatening, it's not that important. Well, if I take that comment and look at what the lady shared with the individuals who are now spending extended hours on a plot of land, is it something that needs to be addressed simply because these people may be putting themselves at great risk just from the elements? Well, we'll take a call as we go to the phones, 949-8037, if you give us a shout and share your thoughts. Or you can use the WhatsApp if you want, or you can call us toll free. Let's pause and take a break, and when we come back, more Talk Today.
You see how hard it's raining?
Yeah, and I don't have time to fight traffic and get my lunch from Subway. I have so much work to do.
Why don't you order Subway by using the Let's Eat or Bento app? Save time, stay dry, and get your sandwich fast.
I never thought of that. Great idea. I'm going to order now.
Order me a veggie pizza while you're at it.
And a cookie platter for the office.
Too busy at work or home? Is the rainy weather stopping you from dining out? Order your favorite Subway sandwich, wrap, or pizza through the Let's Eat or Bento app with fast and reliable delivery. Subway, eat fresh.
Busy, busy, busy. Feel like there's not just enough hours in the day. Savannah Pharmacy, service to make your life easier. Now you can WhatsApp your prescription order to 929-5045. And pickup is just around the corner with everything your family needs and convenient opening hours including Sundays and holidays. WhatsApp your prescription order to 929-5045. Savannah Pharmacy, wholesome values with modern conveniences.
Are you a Caymanian status holder, or a resident of the Cayman Islands who is interested in enhancing transparency, accountability, ethical standards, and promoting awareness in public bodies? If you are civic-minded with the highest level of integrity, the Commission's Secretariat, on behalf of His Excellency the Governor, welcomes your expression of interest for appointment to the various statutory commissions. For more information on the commissions and candidate qualifications, visit the Commission's Secretariat website at www.commissionssecretariat.gov.ky.
Talk Today is brought to you by Subway, open 24 hours in Countryside, Anderson Square.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back, and thank you very much for joining us. 8949-8037, 1-800-534-8255, or WhatsApp, 925-3261, and share your thoughts. As we look at what comes through with us, many times we want to share your thoughts with us. 8949-8037, or 1-800-534-8255. And this message, I think, from this listener is sharing the perspective that I think many of us have, in that for a community this size, we don't seem to understand its value or worth. And I'm trying to get a response from one of our listeners who messaged earlier to ask, well, what specifically, are we looking at? What are we thinking of when we say certain things? Well, hopefully I'll get that reply shortly. 8949-8037, 1-800-534-8255, or share your thoughts with us on the WhatsApp 925-3261, and give us your perspective. So this listener has asked the question on a number of other occasions, and perhaps not satisfied with the response. And the initial thoughts were the idea that in Cayman we seem to be quick to adopt many of the things that internationally are touted as being good, and has asked now, as I think she has on a few occasions recently, why the discussion relative to legalizing cannabis and the like can't be one as was promised in the Parliament not long ago as something to be considered. She has shared, and I looked at it again just to make sure I didn't misread nor misunderstand. She says she's not a user, never used, and has no intention of so using, but wonders if we have this discussion, is it to push for it to be just from the perspective of recreational use? Would we go to research and development and making it more commercially available as a potential export, as another boon to our economy? And what about expanding the medicinal use? Now, one part of her message spoke to the medicinal aspect. I don't quite know that I yet want to share that, because I would like to verify it. But the gist being that there are many drugs that are being used to treat certain ailments, or to assist in the treatment of remediating certain pains and the like, and that this message sort of alleges becoming, like everything else, an issue in the supply chain, so that we can't get it as readily available and in the quantities that are needed. Now, if that is an issue, there's a lot of concern, like it is perhaps we see in the construction sector, perhaps we see in our food supply and the like, and now maybe in the supply of pharmaceuticals as well. This listener has a comment in relation to the accumulation of trash and debris on property. It says junk, trash and debris cannot be left in the yard and must be properly disposed of. This includes junk auto parts, appliances, furniture, building materials, tires, trash, such as discarded paper, cardboard, plastics, etc., and debris such as tree trimmings and fallen limbs. And ask the question, what visual signals a low income area, a lack of upkeep of property, accumulation of derelict vehicles, and no effort to fix some of the items listed above. Perhaps we need to introduce legislation and have enforceable laws. Now, to the comment, when it comes to, what would in the minds of the populace make an area look as though people say run down and the like, well, are these things. We probably grew up with the adage that, cleanliness is next to godliness, not just because you're poor, you gotta be nasty. We can live in a huge sprawling property and don't have to be concerned because we're in the middle of nowhere. But even that sometimes maintained. Let's take this call. Hey, good afternoon. Welcome. Thanks for calling.
Good afternoon, Captain.
How are you today, sir?
I'm doing fine.
Oh, it's good to hear from you, man.
I can hear by the tune of your voice. You somewhere between fine and excellent.
I try to be, and I am. Thank you.
Great.
Yeah. How about you? Mm-hmm.
When we get on the show and what shall I say? Say what we think in our mind. Echo or complaint. Do we see any results?
A lot of talk, but do we see results, huh?
Yeah. Let me get on up and say, this is my opinion. The island here is run by foreign elements, not about the Cayman kind. We too good for our own good. Okay? The other day I seen, for what it's worth again, cement trucks, one specific truck, driving that thing like a sports car, like 60, 70 miles an hour. I mean, if these things get in an accident, what is going to be the outcome? Where is the authorities that they talk about? You have a traffic department, right? Then you have these people again playing the boombox and all of that. Come on. It is a part of a foreign culture that has been introduced into this island, that it is their way or the highway. And it is so disheartening to see that when we put people in authority that should be able to rectify some of these things, it's like saying whatever happened, Again, if we look again at our coastline, almost now in West Bay, if you want to see the sunset, you should head for the Turtle Farm. Not exactly to that extent, but it's coming. And when the sun sets, then you got a security guard telling you, well, you got to leave now. This is what I'm saying. What's happening to this island? What's wrong with the authorities that we have that can't say to the developers or the destroyers, look, you can build, but you can't do this to our people. It's Caymanians that's going to suffer and are suffering from this situation when you can't go to the beach and see the sunrise or the sunset. I think that is pretty awful when you see these people coming in with their bundles of cash and up in their condos with their champagne glasses looking at the sunset when the poor Caymanian he's surrounded by the walls of Jericho. I mean, who do we go to? Who do we talk to? Where is it? Do these people have any concern or interest for the Cayman Islands?
Your points should resonate with many, but as far as that's transpiring, is there something that we, as the populace, you ask, do we go to? What do we do? But is there something that we, as the citizens, the residents, the voters, the people who live and work here, is there something that we can do and should do?
I think the people is so discouraged from what they say. Like myself, I will say what I got to say, but how far does it go? Okay? But people that are in authority, in the high positions, I mean, for Christ's sake, you can tell me they don't see the amount of junk cars, the speeding that's going on, and all of the unethical things that should not be in the Cayman Islands. I mean, what's happening? Who do we go to? Yeah.
I think back to when, if you wouldn't mind, and we saw it being very effective, the West Bay Action Committee, many years ago, with the then Chief Inspector Sims, I think it was Chief Inspector at the helm of the West Bay Station. That really strong partnership with the community, and things that seem to have been very significant in terms of the improvement in how the district was. You know, the debris in certain areas, the playing of loud music, the congregating of people, and the like. Is it then that as a community we've lost that sense of community, that sense of not just taking pride in the community, but this obligations that we have to each other to draw alongside and to help? If that's the case, then how do we regain that?
I hear your concern on what you're saying. Yes, by all means, what you're saying is very accurate. But you know, a lot of the people that was in the committee, they either gone in other countries, and some of them are gone long. The younger generation, they are too influenced. I wouldn't say all of them, but a lot of them are influenced with foreign elements that come in here and try to let them think, well, this is the way what you were doing before is not the right thing. Anytime that you cannot have peace and tranquility into your own island, it is something for us to think about. However, having said what you said, there will be some time again, not too far in the distant future, because of the virus, okay, the COVID, we sort of put down our guards. But again, as soon as some of my good friends can get together, we intend to call some meetings with the government and the authorities to be to find out and let them know what's happening. So,
well, keep us posted.
Present situation.
Yeah, keep us posted. I mean, as you said, if we don't do things as a community together, then we can expect things to improve if we're not working to do so, right?
What you're saying is right, but by the same token, to how things to improve in your community, you need to give some Caymanians that I know has the district and the country at heart. You need to give them some permission and some chance to do something. You know, because how I see it now, my friend, you're looking at Caymanian is like it's a bad taste in your mouth when you call a Caymanian name. So only thing I can do until we get together is look anyone straight and bold in the face, and the body language will tell you if I don't like your looks or you don't like mine, well, that's hard cheese. You know, it might sound a little arrogant, but you gotta stand up sometimes. But if you don't stand for something, what happens then?
That's what I say, man. If you don't know where you're going, then the road will take you there, man. But thanks for sharing your comments, and maybe it'll inspire and encourage others to appreciate the importance of drawing alongside each other. Have a wonderful afternoon, sir.
Enough, man. All right?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. You too.
Thank you.
You know, I was sitting there reflecting and reminiscing, recalling some of the things that may have transpired. You know, you can look at the calendar and you can count up 12 months. It may be the 12 months on the calendar year from January 1st to December 31st. It may be 12 months from the balance sheet. You know, last year, April, the 1st to March 30th, or May 1 to April 30th. But 12 months, I'm reminded, certainly can make a significant impact. So too can 12 minutes. And if we take a few moments of our time to think about, what we're doing, perhaps we'll measure what we have and be more mindful of its value. we can't ring the bell, and we certainly can't revisit the past, but we can hopefully embrace the present with a jubilant and hopeful expectation of what the future may behold. I don't know about you, but there are many things that transpire that we will forever regret, and there's no sense of apology that can make up for our missteps. But perhaps, as the words of Whitney Houston as she covered the Dolly Parton song, I wish you much, and most of all, love, and that perhaps that love will engender all. We invite you to come back tomorrow for more Talk Today after the midday music and midday meditation. We have an opportunity to share with one of the visiting economists. I want you to be a part of the morning show For the Record with Mr. Hart. Always informative, always engaging, and you come away in a perspective. Until tomorrow, my friends, be blessed.
Talk Today is brought to you by Subway, open 24 hours in Countryside, Anderson Square in Georgetown, and Centennial Towers in West Bay. And by the Ministry of District Administration, Tourism and Transport. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands. MedLab in Smith Road Plaza, your complete medical laboratory solution. Call 949-7331. And Savannah Pharmacy in Countryside Shopping Village, convenient opening hours including Sundays and holidays.